Hello, and welcome to our webinar, Homeschooling and Series Nonfiction. I'm Julia Smith, Books for Youth Senior Editor at Booklist. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical details. Links to today's slide presentation and title list were included in the reminder email you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download them, please open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download the slides and title list by copying the URLs on this screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble, please contact us at webinars@booklist.com. The audience is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you may have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a section for Q&A. And if you have a question or need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box that appears. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions, and we'll pass along all other questions to today's panelists so they can follow up with you after the webinar. Booklist offers closed captioning on all webinars. To enable or disable captions on your screen, please look for and click the captions icon on the toolbar mentioned earlier. From there, you can select Show or Hide Captions from the menu that appears. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of the captions at any time by selecting Subtitle Settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect and fairness. Anyone who violates this standard of behavior, including engaging in any form of harassment, may, at the discretion of the organizers, be immediately removed. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Maisha Johnson, Manager of Educational and Event Marketing at Scholastic, Wendy Vincent, Senior Manager, School and Library at Rourke, Dina Sherman, School and Library Marketing Director at Disney Publishing, which now includes National Geographic Kids titles, Terry Borzumato, Vice President, Marketing and Publicity at Holiday House, and Anna Erickson, Vice President, Sales at The Creative Company. We will kick things off with Maisha Johnson. Maisha currently works at Scholastic in the Trade Marketing Department, where she is the Manager of Educational and Event Marketing. With over 15 years of publishing experience, beginning at Scholastic as a marketing assistant, Maisha has worked her way through the ranks from marketing coordinator to assistant manager and project manager. After working at Houghton Mifflin Harcourt as manager of events for 5 years, Maisha has recently returned to Scholastic Children's Books, where she affectionately refers to her journey as returning home. Her love of books and enthusiasm for working with authors is what keeps her going. Thanks for being here, Maisha.
Thank you, Julia, for that great introduction. Scholastic is committed to nonfiction publishing. We present easily accessible information for younger readers and create opportunities for older readers to delve deeper into the high interest topics. I'm excited to share some of our new and continuing series publishing, plus a few single titles that are particularly suited for learning both inside and outside the classroom. Meet the inventors and scientists of color who changed the world with bright minds. Many inventors and scientists of color have made incredible contributions to our modern life, but they have not necessarily had the attention they deserved. In this fun and engaging series, each volume is devoted to the life and work of one of these inventors and scientists. With a vivid writing style that uses humor as one of its primary ingredients and illustrated with an engaging combination of real photos and pictures featuring graphic art, each book describes not only how the inventions and contributions of these heroes of diverse backgrounds changed our society, but also how they faced big challenges in their lives, of their times. Bright Minds provides an engaging opportunity for young readers to learn about these inventors of color and to find role models to inspire their own lives. These are just the first books in the series. There are so much more to come, so stay tuned. In the early childhood age bracket, we have two, next slide, please. In the early childhood age bracket, we have two super exciting long-standing series. The first one is Learn About, with the tagline, Look, Discover. This series is meant to help kids transition from learning to read to reading to learn, where they look at beautiful photos and illustrations and discover the world. Next slide, please. With easy, contain all the text features and captions, among many others. We have published 3 subsets in this series, each one tackling in an intelligent and fun way. Sorry, lost my place. Each one tackling in an intelligent and fun way a curriculum topic. Next, those and 3 subsets: animals, water, and mapping. With 10 more 5 senses. There will be more Learn About books in each season, spring and fall. Moving forward. Our second longstanding series for early childhood is Wild World. Kids cannot get enough animal facts. With this series, readers can learn super cool facts about their favorite animals in a very original way by comparing and contrasting them. Next slide, please. Brimming with colorful photographs and fascinating facts about the featured animal's body, life cycle, and habitat, and with the short blocks of text on every page, this series is sure to entertain the most reluctant readers. Next slide, please. We know it is important for kids to access engaging and fun, rich content to turn them into lifelong readers and learners. And we know Learn About and Wild World will be a great tool to help them achieve this. I hope you love these books as much as I do. Next slide, please. This series from Scholastic Library Publishing is for a slightly older audience. Exploring Civil Rights, The Rise is the latest installment of this exciting and informative series. 1967 is just available today. You can see the books in this series are more text heavy, a great resource for older students, research projects, and reports. In addition to the historical photos, sidebar explanations, mini bios, and timelines, there's also a glossary of terms. This series brings key historical figures and events to life by honing in on 5 distinct years, 1 year per book, and includes 3 installments in the series: The Beginnings, The Rise, and The Movement, spanning years 1939 to 1978. Explore all of the great books and installments in this series. Now on to our picture book biographies. Holding Her Own, The Exceptional Life of Tracy Ormes, written by Tracy N. Todd and illustrated by Shannon Wright. Jackie Ormes was the first Black woman cartoonist to be nationally syndicated in the United States. She was also a journalist, fashionista, and philanthropist and activist. And she used her incredible talent and artistry to bring joy and hope to people everywhere. But in post-World War II America, Black people were still being denied their civil rights, and Jackie found herself in a dilemma. How could her art stay true to her signature, Jackie Joy, while remaining honest about the inequalities Black people had been fighting? The illustrations in this beautiful picture book tell the story of not only her unique talent, but also her persistence in the fight for equality. Rising stars Tracy N. Todd, author of the Coretta Scott King honor book Nina, A Story of Nina Simone, and Shannon Wright, co-creator of the best-selling graphic novel Twins, have crafted a gorgeous and heartfelt tribute to the indelible legacy of Jackie Ormes, whose life and work still influences illustrators and cartoonists today. All Aboard the School Train by Glenda Armand, illustrated by Keisha Morris. This tender family story, inspired by the author's own, illuminates a dynamic chapter in American history known as the Great Migration and the many trains people rode toward freedom. Thelma loves to watch the Sunset Limited chug through her little town of Vacherie, Louisiana, and she dreams of one day riding a real train. For now, she has her beloved school train. Every morning, she and her friends walk to school, single file, chanting all the way. School train, don't be late. The school bell rings at 8:30. Then it's on to great adventures with her teacher's books and her own imagination. Linda Armand has had a long career as a teacher and a school librarian. She is the author of Love 12 Miles Long, for which she received Lee and Low's New Voices Award, as well as several other acclaimed books with a focus on African-American history, including Song in a Rainstorm and Black Leaders in the Civil Rights Movement. Jovita wore pants, the story of a Mexican freedom fighter by Aida Salazar, illustrated by Molly Mendoza. This remarkable true story of Jovita Valdovinos, a Mexican revolutionary who disguised herself as a man to fight for her rights. When her father and brothers joined the Cristero War to fight for religious freedom, Jovita wanted to go too. Forbidden, she defied her father's rules and societies and found herself a clever way to become a trailblazing revolutionary, wearing pants. This remarkable true story about a little-known maverick Mexican heroine is brought vividly to life by her great niece and America's Award winner, Aida Salazar, and Eisner Award honoree, Molly Mendoza. Justice Ketanji, written by Denise Lewis Patrick and illustrated by Kim Holt. Discover the rise of Ketanji Brown Jackson from a young girl growing up in Florida to the first Black woman to be confirmed to United States Supreme Court. Ketanji Jackson knew from the very beginning that you can do anything and you can be anything. Driven by those powerful words and her parents' love, Ketanji refused to let naysayers stop her from rising to the top, whether it was participating in her high school debate team, applying to her dream college, or excelling at Harvard. Her perseverance and her wits led her to become the first Black female U.S. district judge, and eventually the first Black female Supreme Court justice. Ketanji's remarkable journey proves how she is a justice for all. From New York Times best-selling Joanna Ho and critically acclaimed illustrator Katia Chien comes a moving, powerful picture book about the life and work of activist and artist Ai Weiwei. Told in Joanna Ho's signature lyrical writing, this is a story that shines a light on Ai Weiwei and his journey, specifically how the life jackets exhibited at Kornhaus, Berlin came to be. As conditions for refugees worsened, Ai Weiwei was inspired by the discarded life jackets on the shores of Lesbos to create a bold installation that would grab the attention of the world. Katia Chien masterfully portrays the intricate life of Ai Weiwei with inspirations from woodblock printing and a special emphasis on the color orange, the same color of the life jackets that became a beacon of hope. Through Katia's dynamic, stunning illustrations, we see how Ai Weiwei became the activist and artist he is today, while proving the power of art within humanity still exists. Race Against Death by Deborah Hopkinson, a thrilling account of the most daring American POW rescue mission of World War II. Following the bombing of Pearl Harbor, America entered World War II, and a new theater of battle opened up in the Pacific. But US troops, along with thousands of Filipino soldiers who fought alongside them, were overtaken in the Philippines by fiercely determined Japanese Navy, and many Americans and Filipino fighters were killed or captured. Aided by the Angels of the Underground, the 6th Ranger Battalion and courageous Filipino guerrilla soldiers set out on an uncertain and treacherous assignment. Often called the Great Raid, this remarkable story remains largely forgotten, told through oral histories, letters, first-hand written accounts, and a generous number of Black and white photographs and maps, provide engaging visual aids that assist in bringing this extraordinary story to life. Cyber Award winner, Cyber Honor author, Deborah Hopkinson presents an extraordinary and unflinching look at the heroic servicemen and women who courageously weather the worst of circumstances and conditions in service of their country, as well as those who answer the call to save their fellow soldiers. This Indian Kid, award-winning author Eddie Chukalat recounts his experience growing up in rural Oklahoma, from boyhood to young manhood, in an evocative and vivid voice. Growing up in an impoverished and shuttled between different shuttled between different households, it seemed like life was bound to take a certain path for Eddie Chocolat. Despite the challenges he faced, his upbringing was rich with love and bountiful lessons from his Creek and Cherokee heritage. Deep-rooted traditions he embraced, even as he learned to live within the culture of white, small-town America that dominated his migratory childhood. Award-winning author Eddie Chocolat brings his childhood to life with spare, unflinching prose. This book is at once a love letter to his Native American roots and an inspiring and essential message for young readers everywhere who are coming of age in an era when conversations about acceptance and empathy, love and perspective are more necessary than ever before. Before I wrap up, I'm excited to share with you that our Power Story initiative is continuing to expand through events and other resources for building more equitable bookshelves. This initiative aims to highlight books featuring characters and stories from groups whose identities and lived experiences have been suppressed and excluded from mainstream narratives. This current catalog is available online with an updated edition, including spring and summer titles. Fall 23 titles are coming later this year. You can subscribe to Power of Story email updates at the link on the slide. Thank you so much for supporting Scholastic Books.
Thank you, Maisha. Up next, we'll hear from Wendy Vincent. Wendy is a former kindergarten teacher who still misses her students every day. She has worked in educational publishing for over 15 years. Wendy lives in Ohio, where she likes to garden, walk her dog, and finish one book for every 3 she buys. Take it away, Wendy.
Thank you so much, Julia. I'm so happy to be here today to share Rourke's new spring titles and the stellar home learning resources from our parent brand, Carson DeLosa. And I like to start every presentation reminding folks of our mission here at Rourke, and that is perfectly illustrated by our 3 R's: respect, relevance, and representation. When we say relevance, we mean that kids want to read our books, and we create content that speaks to them, their world, and topics that they care about. Representation, kids see themselves and others. We foster creator teams and topics that reflect our readers' diverse and complex lives and illuminate stories that need to be told. And finally, respect, just meaning that our readers' identities are valued. We develop content that does not shy away from challenging and complex subjects for all readers, honoring their multiple identities and reading journeys. So let's take a look at how these principles live in our new titles for spring 23. Just a reminder, these are all available in ebook, hardcover, and paperback formats, and are all supported by free online downloadable activities. This is the first series today, and it's one that you may be familiar with, but it continues to evolve. Leaders Like Us. We are now presenting our 5th release of this series, and each release has been reviewed. We now have 21 titles and counting. Our 2 new titles and a new author illustrator team join us for this spring release. These beautiful books are perfect for readers in grades 2 through 4 and learners of all ages. Our new biographies feature Asian American leaders Grace Lee Boggs and Philip Veracruz. Next slide, please. Grace Lee Boggs was a Chinese American woman who went from earning a PhD in philosophy to becoming an activist in the Black Power movement in Detroit. This nonfiction biography is the story of how she used her ideas about revolution to inspire people to create a new world and imagine a new way of living. Next slide, please. Philip Veracruz came to the United States from the Philippines in search of an education. Instead, he had to work different jobs to survive and only went to 1 year of university. Learn about how he and other Filipino farm workers started the historic strike in Delano, California, that led to a great boycott and the birth of the United Farm Workers Union. Now let's meet the newest creators on our Leaders Like Us team. Next slide, please. I am beyond thrilled to introduce Dr. Karen Sue, our newest member of the representative author team and a professor of global Asian studies at the University of Illinois, Chicago. Joining Dr. Sue is the very talented illustrator, Arlo Lee. These amazing creators are already working on 2 new Asian American leader titles for fall of 23, and I might have a sneak peek of one of those covers later on today, so stay tuned. You can read more about Dr. Karen Sue in her recent interview posted on slj.com, so please check that out. Next slide, please. Next, for our early elementary readers, we have released 6 new titles in a series called Social Studies Connect. These replace content that was outdated and at times inaccurate. Perfect for learning social studies content at home and based on standards that reflect learning in K2, this young reader series offers an updated look at shared human experiences around the globe, community connectedness, changes in places over time, civic engagement, choices we make, and more. Celebrate our similarities and our differences in this fun, inclusive series. Next slide, please. With stunning photos and up-to-date content beyond the old ways of learning about our world, these titles go deeper with standards, concentrating on ways to tell our stories that are sometimes missing in core social studies resources, all at a comfortable reading level for many early elementary students. Next slide, please. Each title also includes early reading practice with literacy skills like vocabulary development and features a fun content-related reflection activity. And please meet our awesome author and public school educator, Chantel Gobin. Next slide, please. Chantel just received praise from Booklist for the series title, Resources, Needs, and Choices. Next slide, please. And for our Spanish-speaking readers, we recently curated our vast library of science titles to find the best content to be translated. Great for science content understanding and nonfiction fun, these 33 titles cover grade level standards and high interest topics like animals, experiments, and strange facts, all for grades K through 6. Next slide, please. And we just received reviews for 3 of these standout series. Next slide, please. Thank you. And don't forget about our still new, recently reviewed, and recently released Fall 22 standout series and titles. And as promised, a little sneak peek of our titles that we hope will be next to be reviewed. Next slide, please. These 4 covers, which are not final, are just a little taste of the new and continuing series that we can't wait to show at our next Booklist webinar. And I could talk about our Rourke titles all day, but next slide, please. Rourke is part of a larger family of education products, perfect for learning at home, Carson DeLosa. Next slide. You may know Carson DeLosa for the fantastic Spectrum line of workbooks for practicing skills in grade level content, from word problems and fractions to handwriting, science, and phonics. Next slide. And now we offer Spectrum Complete Plus videos for grades 3 through 6. Next slide, please. Complete Plus videos built on key learning science research domains offer the best Spectrum content with easy to access companion videos to remind both learners and caregivers of methods and practices to support concepts in language arts and math. And if you're looking for ways to keep the learning sharp all year, next slide, please. Our #1 best-selling workbook, Summer Bridge Activities, includes skills practice, SEL practices, fitness activities, and more for rising kindergarten through rising 9th graders. Next slide, please. And our Summer Bridge titles were recently released in Spanish as well. And both English and Spanish Summer Bridge Activities workbooks are available as part of our, next slide, please, Summer Bridge Essentials backpacks. Each one includes 4 Rourke readers, a summer bridge activity book, flashcards, a family guide, and a hands-on calm down kit. Next slide, please. And with that, my time with you is up. But if you have any questions about Rourke or Carson DeLosa products, please reach out to us. You can reach me at wvincent@carsondelosa.com. And if you have any questions for our sales team, Bill Harris, bharris@carsondelosa.com. And check out all of our great learning products available for both Rourke and Carson DeLosa at our sites, rourkebooks.com and carsondelosa.com. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Wendy. Now we'll hear from Dina Sherman. Dina has been the School and Library Marketing Director at Disney Publishing, which now includes National Geographic titles, since 2009. Prior to that, she was the School and Library Senior Marketing Manager at HarperCollins Children's Books. Dina received her MLS from the University of Pittsburgh and worked as a children's librarian for 10 years, first at the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh and then at the Brooklyn Children's Museum. As a librarian, Dina wrote reviews for School Library Journal and wrote articles and presented on the topic of museum and library collaborations. Welcome, Dina.
Thanks, Julia. Hi, everyone. And as Julia mentioned, we're so excited that National Geographic is now part of Disney, and I'm happy to share some of their books with you today. So I'm going to start off with some fantastic new nonfiction standalone titles. So this is the cute animal alert. Destiny Finds Her Way, written by Newbery Honor author Margarita Engel, with amazing photographs by Sam Troll, is the story of a rescued orphan baby sloth. Destiny must learn to be strong and confident. And I'm sorry, I just have to stop. How cute is this picture? It just gets me every time. Destiny must learn to be strong and confident after she loses the use of one of her eyes. Without her mother to protect her or teach her, Destiny is found and taken to a rescue center in Costa Rica, where she befriends other orphan sloths. Her poor eyesight, however, makes it hard for her to keep her balance, but Destiny begins to use all of her senses to explore the world around her. The book also includes a map showing where sloths live, as well as some facts and resources to learn more. Footsteps on the Map is a new picture book from award-winning author Barbara Curley. Set out, pen in hand, yours are the first footsteps on the map. This imaginative picture book combines brief lyrical text with a stunning combination of photographs and artist illustrations, as it spins a charming story that introduces the art of map making from a child's perspective. The book also includes basic information needed to read maps, such as symbols and a map key. Filled with beautifully illustrated, child-centered maps, it's sure to inspire budding cartographers to map their own world and tell their own stories. Not So Common Sense is by National Geographic writer Sarah Wassner Flynn with award-winning financial educator, author, and television and radio host Alvin Hall. From the basics of saving, investing, and interest to the ins and outs of cryptocurrency and other new money, this book will help kids learn everything adults, myself included, wish they'd been taught. Do you know how much water it takes to make a cheese pizza? About 330 gallons. How about to produce that shirt you're wearing? About 700 gallons. Water introduces kids to serious H2O issues, from limited supply to the dangers of pollution, in an easy to understand, kid-friendly way. National Geographic explorer and winner of the 2021 Stockholm Water Prize, called the Nobel Prize of Water, who knew, Dr. Sandra Postal serves as expert contributor for this book, which ties into middle school earth science curriculums. Infographics and bright colors will captivate kids and keep their attention as we relay important nonfiction information. And interactive activities like how to make rain clouds in a bottle will help kids understand the water cycle and other concepts in a fun and engaging way. Freaking Out is the companion book to the wildly successful National Geographic Kids podcast by the same name, which has over 10.4 million downloads and hit #1 on the kids and family podcast charts this year. This hilarious title delivers an upbeat, tongue-in-cheek retelling of 20 classic Greek myths, beautifully and humorously illustrated to bring the gods and goddesses to life. The approachable tone is sure to appeal to the podcast lovers because it's written by the same team, Kenny Curtis and his daughter, Jillian Hughes. Dynamic, full-color illustrations coupled with laugh-out-loud, family-friendly storytelling and real information about ancient Greece, delivered by the all-knowing Oracle of Wi-Fi, in fun facts and special interstitial spreads, make this collection a fresh addition to any history lover's library. Reviewed by Greek mythology experts, this parent-trusted book packs tons of information in an attention-grabbing way. And next up, we have some new titles from our favorite National Geographic series. So first of all, National Geographic readers, these are just this year's titles. It is remarkable to me how many of these readers we put out, and there is really truly something for every interest and every reading level. As you'll see, we've got animals, we've got careers, we even have some readers in Spanish, and the levels are all very clearly marked. I'm really excited to share about the co-readers, which is a level different from the regular level one, in that it has two different levels of reading on the book. I should have included a spread, my apologies. So when a parent or teacher can read one side and then the kids can join in and read on the other side, which I think is really fantastic. Next slide, please. Okay, there are more than 40 titles and nearly 7 million books in print in the Weird But True franchise, and we've got 3 more great installments. All the books in the series are created by National Geographic contributors, including researchers, photographers, content experts, and educational specialists. So Weird But True Sharks is perfect for shark super fans, trivia buffs, reluctant readers, and anyone who loves jawsome facts and photos about this kid favorite topic. Discover Earth's strangest natural wonders, animals, festivals, ancient architecture, and more in Weird But True World, the annual compendium of everything Weird But True fans love. This almanac is updated every year and is perfect for any curious kid or kid at heart willing to embrace the quirky side of life. And just in time for the Walt Disney Company's 100th anniversary, we have Weird But True Disney. It's filled with surprising secrets and mind-boggling facts behind your favorite Disney movies, TV shows, park attractions, and more. And we have an atlas for everyone. My first atlas of the world is a fully updated preschool atlas from the map experts at National Geographic. Simple, colorful maps teach kids about Earth's land, water, and countries. Bright, bold pictures and lively, accessible text showcase the world's people, places, and animals. The book includes several maps, as well as instructions for how to read and understand them, a glossary and pronunciation guide, and fun facts sprinkled throughout. The fully revised and updated Beginner's United States Atlas features large, vibrant maps custom designed for children, along with more than 200 bright, bold photographs that bring the nation's people, places, and natural wonders to life. This atlas includes facts at a glance, such as the largest cities, highest mountain, the largest states by area, as well as a feature on United States territories and lively essays highlighting each state's unique character and strength. And for the older kids, the fully updated 7th edition of the award-winning United States Atlas has more than 75 National Geographic maps, more than 350 color images, attention-grabbing graphics, and more. Each state gets its own detailed, easy-to-read map, plus a brief essay, facts at a glance about population, state capital, statehood date, the state flag, bird, flower, all that great stuff, everything unique to the states. And new in this edition is a thematic map of native populations. And all of the map's facts and statistics have been carefully researched and updated. Okay, lastly, I want to share some fiction titles that should not be missed. Zeus, the overconfident hamster, Athena, the wise cat, Ares, the treat-loving pug, Poseidon, the proud pufferfish, Demeter, the loyal grasshopper, and Hermes, the daring chicken are back for another laugh-out-loud adventure through Greek mythology in Zeus the Mighty, the voyage on the oddest sea. Zeus and his gaggle of gods find themselves in a mystifying underwater realm where they start to question themselves and each other. Can the god squad stick together, or will the strange currents of this underwater world tear them apart? And speaking of Greek mythology, Percy Jackson fans rejoice. Fan favorite couple Nico and Will have a book of their own. Rick Riordan has teamed up with award-winning author Marco Shiro in The Sun and the Star, an extension of the Percy Jackson universe. Nico has to go on a quest to the underworld, and of course, Will insists on coming with him. But can a being made of light survive in the darkest part of the world? Nico will have to face demons both internal and external as his relationship with Will is tested to the core. And on the off chance you hadn't heard the news, Rick will be back this fall with an all-new Percy adventure, The Chalice of the Gods. The original heroes from The Lightning Thief are reunited for their biggest challenge yet, getting Percy to college when the gods are standing in his way. And speaking of Rick, we have some more amazing books coming from our award-winning and best-selling Rick Riordan Presents imprint. Gracie Kim's best-selling Gifted Clans trilogy, based on Korean mythology and folklore, comes to an end in The Last Fallen Realm. Riley O and her friends face their most dangerous challenge yet, venture into the God Realm to defeat the goddesses before they take over the world. Theory of the Dragon Goddess is the follow-up novel to Sarwat Chada's first book based on Mesopotamian mythology, City of the Plague God. Nothing less than the fate of the world is at stake when Sikander Aziz takes on the ancient gods of Mesopotamia when they get their hands on the mythic Tablet of Destinies. And lastly, The Spirit Cloth is by Roshni Chokshi, author of the best-selling Art of Shah series. Roshni pays tribute to her Filipino heritage in this standalone adventure in which a young girl must go on a quest through the spirit realms to stop a vengeful ghost. That's it for me. Thank you so much for taking the time today. And while not all of our nonfiction titles make it up on NetGalley and Edelweiss, we do try to post as many as we can. Sometimes it's a blad, sometimes it's not. So if you need anything, please don't hesitate to email me, and please do check us out online as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Dina. Our next panelist is Terry Borzumato. Terry, Vice President of Marketing and Publicity at Holiday House, is a publishing veteran with over 3 decades in children's books. At Holiday House, she oversees all marketing and publicity efforts to librarians, educators, retailers, and consumers. Terry is a winner of the Ted Hipple Service Award for exemplary service and dedication to the Assembly on Literature for Adolescents of the NCTE, National Council of Teachers of English. She has served on a number of American Library Association and other industry committees, and currently serves as treasurer of the board of directors of the Children's Book Council, the nonprofit trade association of children's book publishers. Over the years, Terry has worked with such esteemed authors and illustrators as Russell Friedman, Mordecai Girdstein, Gail Gibbons, Patricia Riley Giff, Jerry Pinkney, Maurice Sendek, and Jacqueline Woodson, among many others. Thank you for joining us, Terry.
Thank you so much, Julia. Hello, everyone. I am delighted to be here today to share with you some upcoming titles from sister companies, Holiday House, Peachtree, and Pixel and Ink. These books are just right for the homeschool market, and we've got some pretty amazing nonfiction to start off our presentation. I am thrilled to present our brand new environmental line, our Books for a Better Earth, from picture books up through middle grade, are designed to inspire children to become active, knowledgeable participants in caring for the planet they live on. You can see the inaugural list there. It showcases 16 scientists, teaches about plastics and the environment, profiles the woods and the sea. Restoring Prairie Woods and Pond by award-winning author Lori Lawler is about activism at the community level, and today is its book birthday. We have a very cool graphic novel about trash coming this summer. Team Trash, you can see on the right, and the image is a little squished, sorry. It's a time traveler's guide to sustainability. All of these books are ones you will want to share with your young patrons, and the first books have already garnered 5-starred reviews. From National Geographic photographer Shelley Rotner comes a picture book celebrating children of different abilities. The beautiful photographs present large, clear images of children moving around their community using scooters, wheelchairs, walkers, and more. The text presents their experiences navigating the world from the park to the beach in simple, relatable language. Everybody, a celebration of diverse abilities, celebrates children with varying abilities, covering neurological differences, physical differences, and health challenges. Coming this month is a new and updated edition of a classic from Gail Gibbons, the most popular science writer for children in pre-K through grade 2. From the architectural drawings to the foundation to iron workers building 30 stories up, young readers learn how skyscrapers are built step by step. This new edition includes the latest building techniques and has been vetted by an expert. Award-winning picture book author Michael Garland's newest title features birds with blue feet, fish that walk, unicorns in the sea, and more. Young readers will learn how these animals' quirks help them survive and see these animals' amazing body parts in vibrant and detailed woodcut illustrations. We're Not Weird, Structure and Function in the Animal Kingdom is perfect for budding naturalists who are always ready to share a cool or gross animal fact. Our list wouldn't be complete without a new picture book from the multi-award-winning husband-wife team, Lisa Klein Ransom and James E. Ransom, who was recently named this year's Children's Literature Legacy Award winner. The story of the saxophone begins with the story of a young daydreamer named Joseph Antoine Adolphe Sax, a young boy with bad luck, but great ideas. Readers will follow the saxophone's journey from Belgium, where it began in Adolphe's imagination, to the New Orleans pawnshop window, where it caught the eye of musician Sidney Bechet and became the iconic symbol of jazz music that it is today. This JLG Gold Standard selection already has a starred review. The brand new, never used perfect crayons. With this book, Leanne Hatch taps into the joy of sharing, creating, and letting go of perfectionism. It's published by Margaret Ferguson Books. Adorable art set alongside textured crayon sketches reminiscent of classics like Harold and the Purple Crayon makes this a book perfectly suited for the shelves of young creatives everywhere. It is Time, The Life of a Caterpillar. The next book in the award-winning I Like to Read series is a Level G science book for first graders to read on their own. A caterpillar hatches, eats, becomes a pupa, weathers storms, and grows into a butterfly before flying away. Lizzie Rockwell's elegant, beautifully illustrated life cycle book will also teach basic science vocabulary. In this historical fiction YA, 17-year-old Rebecca Levitt searches for her identity in the Northwest Territories of Canada during the late 1800s. National Book Award finalist Martine Levitt's Buffalo Flats is inspired by true life histories of her ancestors. This will be published by Margaret Ferguson Books. It has 2 starred reviews, including one from Booklist calling it vivid and insightful. The extraordinary novel explores Latter-day Saints culture and the hardships of pioneer life, tells of a stubborn, irreverent, and resourceful young woman who remains true to herself and discovers that it is the bonds of family, faith, and friendship that tie her to the wild and unpredictable land she loves so fiercely. In the Tunnel, the much-anticipated sophomore novel from award-winning author Julie Lee follows a young refugee who's trapped in an enemy tunnel and experiences the Korean War firsthand. This searing story of survival, loss, and hope is a companion to the Freeman Award-winning Brothers Keeper. Remind Me, a poignant picture book from Linda Shute about a young elephant and his grandma, is an eloquent account of the all too familiar tragedy of memory loss and the love of family that never leaves. It can be especially hard for children to process the grief of watching their grandparents forget themselves and others when suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia. Remind Me approaches the issue with humanity and compassion, celebrating the lasting love that brings families together. Spanish is the Language of My Family is an intergenerational story of family ties, cultural pride, and spelling bee victory, which follows a young boy who bonds with his beloved abuela over a love of Spanish. This is going to be published by Neil Porter Books. Michael Genhardt's text is as touching as it is poignant, and it's paired with the striking artwork of multiple Pura Bell Prey award-winning illustrator John Parra. Extensive back matter includes essays from the author about the history of Spanish suppression in U.S. schools, as well as information about the Spanish alphabet. Next up, we have the second picture book from the award-winning author and illustrator duo of I Talk Like a River. It's coming from Neil Porter Books next month, and this new book already has 5 starred reviews. In My Baba's Garden, poet Jordan Scott explores the sights, sounds, and smells experienced by a child spending time with his beloved grandmother. Sydney Smith's illustrations perfectly capture the sensational impressions of a child's memory and the beautiful connection kids can have with elderly family members. A Flag for Juneteenth is from Kim Taylor, who is a speech language pathologist, a department superior at a large school for deaf children, an expert quilter, and now an author of picture books for children. Taylor's quilts reflect African-American life, and she tells stories through her materials. After researching the origins of the Juneteenth celebration, she created a Juneteenth quilt, story quilt, which she has exhibited and presented in dozens of local schools. Realizing few teachers and students knew the details of the holiday, she was moved to write the book published this spring by Neil Porter. Next up, Pixel and Ink, the series-only publisher of books for ages 3 to 13. We have the first 2 titles in the Mathemachicken series, Hide and Go Beak and Have a Slice Life. Always makes me chuckle. These chapter books for young readers tell of a chicken who loves math, science, and learning new things. By New York Times bestselling author Nancy Krulik and illustrated by Charlie Adler, these books are for fans of Unlimited Squirrel and Bumble and Bee. With lively 2-color art throughout and a fun hands-on simple machine activity, these excellent, hilarious series starters are grade A picks for emerging readers to get them excited about science and math. Thank you for humoring me with the puns. Also from Pixel and Ink, for an older middle grade audience comes The Great Peach Experiment series by Erin Soderbergh Downing. Mix together a food truck, a road trip that doesn't go exactly as planned, a renovation of a mansion, family business trip to Sweden's Ice Hotel, and a lot of pie. And you have an amazing series with humor, heart, and a family you'll fall in love with. Perfect for readers who gobble down the Penderwigs. Next is a young spy in training has to put her sneaky skills to the test when the class pet goes missing in this picture book series. Missing Hamster, the sequel Mystery Goo are by Beatrice Bly. And next slide. It's perfect for readers who love the excitement and intrigue of Tarazar 789 and Josh Funk's Mission Defrostable. Next slide. From Pixel and Ink, Edgar Award nominated author Michael D. Beale's The Swallowtail Legacy. This series follows 12-year-old Lark Heron Finch, gets to the bottom of mysteries yet to be uncovered. Next, we have Peachtree Books. We have a hilarious retelling of The Three Little Pigs, and this charming and lighthearted illustrations by debut illustrator Laura Emmons joyously accentuate a lively read aloud from the author of Boo Stew, Donna Washington. 10 Dragon Eggs by Linda Graham Barber and Jeff Ebler is a fun-filled dragon countdown of numbers 10 through 1. Great for young readers. Next, we have Hooked on Books by Margaret Grenius. And here, Pearl just wants to read her book in peace, but the other fish won't leave her alone. Young readers who struggle to focus in busy environments will relate to Pearl. Next, we move to a brand new illustrated chapter book series coming this summer from Peachtree, the Buddy and Bee books from Jan Carr. Next, we have award-winning author Elaine Vickers, whose Half Moon Summer focuses on 2 7th graders who discover it takes more than grit and a good pair of shoes to run 13.1 miles. And next we have 2 more, Behold the Galapagos by Suzanne Slade. And, oh, sorry, I combined the 2. Behold the Octopus and Galapagos. So those are coming up. And then last but not least, we have Lolly's Flip Flops, I can't speak, from author and illustrator duo Farhana Zia and Stephanie Pfizer Coleman. Here, Lolly has some adventures in town, adorable artwork. Thank you. Okay, we appreciate you joining us today. All of our titles are available on Edelweiss, many on NetGalley, so please go ahead and request any you'd like to read in advance. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks again. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, Terry. Our final panelist today will be Anna Erickson. Anna has worked in children's books publishing for over 25 years and is stubbornly convinced that all children deserve access to high-quality reading materials. She's based in Oakland, California. Bring us home, Anna.
Thank you, Julia. Pleasure to be with everybody today, and I'm here to talk about the Creative Company and its family of publishing companies based in southern Minnesota. Many of you know Creative. It's a 4th generation family-owned company, and these are all independent publishers, each with a unique mission. I'm going to talk about 3 of them today: Creative, Amicus, and Black Rabbit, and we'll kick it off with Amicus. Many of you know amicus. Amicus means friend in Latin, and that epitomizes everything that this company does. These are books for the youngest readers, those that are just starting to read, moving from the emergent to transitional phases. And that begins within amicus with Spot. Spot is a large program of books for the very beginning readers. They use all an ATOS level of 1.0 or under. And to extend that very brief text that each of these books encompasses, they use a search and find framework. So each title begins by asking you to spot a series of keywords and photographic details as you move through the text. So for example, one of the keywords in this book is foal. And if you spot that and the associated detail, it's just another level of engagement as you're working through an introductory text. Amicus also publishes Curious About. This is inquiry-based series nonfiction, basically questions and answers from the perspective of kids. These books are bright, they're light, they use a lot of really beautiful color in the background. And that sounds secondary to the mission of reading, but it does enhance the text. And I think you'll see a fresh feel and look with any of the Curious About titles. Like Spot, Curious About covers a wide range of topics. So these books that we're looking at today just represent the tip of the iceberg. This time we've got mythical creatures, and these are great looking images, as well as, again, that beautiful crisp design and the questions that kids might answer or ask and answer about these topics. It's amazing how many filters we apply as adults, and it's a lot of fun to kind of try to strip those away and look at the world through fresh eyes. We also have a continuation of the Curious About Pets program, which debuted last year. So the first set covered cats and dogs and the more common pets, but this time we have guinea pigs, ferrets, hedgehogs, and beyond. Again, the bright light look, the great questions, not afraid to ask and answer more unusual and difficult questions as they go. Amicus has become really well known for the Amicus Illustrated imprint, and this is where they use illustrations within series nonfiction to really dive deep into narrative nonfiction topics. One of the most notable series in recent years has been Making Good Choices. And these are a whole program of books that explore common situations that we all deal with, including kids, in social situations, and give you different options as to how you might navigate them. So it's basically a choose your next step format. You start with a tricky situation, and then you are offered choices. So what would happen next if you did this or you did that? And you can really explore a range of outcomes. Inevitably, it gives you a chance to explore an outcome where maybe you kind of lose it a little bit, lose your cool, but then you can go back, reel it in, and explore an outcome where you're using your words to solve a problem. This season's selection is all about problems that friends encounter. A new series this season from Amicus Illustrated is Tale versus Truth. And in a media environment where we're constantly grappling as adults to distinguish fact from fiction, how do we have that conversation with kids? Well, this series tackles it by using familiar stories, fairy tales, and the like, stripping away any of the complications that we as adults are dealing with. We're just using familiar tales to look at, okay, what is fact? What is fiction? What is tale? What is truth? In a friendly, funny, again, kid-centered environment. So they're very effective, and we're excited to bring this program out for the first time. All right, next, we'll talk about Black Rabbit books. Amicus, as we said, is to get kids started reading. It brings them into reading. Black Rabbit has a very different mission. It is trying to connect with kids who may be readers, but just not know it yet. So folks that are struggling or maybe having some extra challenges to get into books and to become really confident readers. So Black Rabbit does that by focusing on high interest topics They use very broad interest ranges, and then write the text at the lower end of that range. So they're very accessible without being babyish. And often they're not only high interest, but fun and funny. This begins with Bolt Jr., the books for the youngest kids. So really the kindergarten, first grade level, but the interest range extends much higher than that. Mighty Military takes you into the inner workings of the different branches of service. And you'll see that these books use a lot of graphics, a lot of full page spreads. And again, things to bring you in, pull you into the book as a friendly place, a place that you can learn to like and want to return to. That's also true in the Space Explorer set that's coming out. Okay, when you're a little bit older, kind of at the second grade level, you're ready to progress to Bolt. Once again, these are all high interest topics. And I love how these covers have a little bit of attitude, a little bit of edge. I always think of this book as the grumpy owl cover at the bottom there. And that vulture seriously has some attitude. And you'll see that sensibility play out through all of the books. So even though Bolt is older than Bolt Jr. that we just looked at, you'll see that that graphic treatment really continues in these. So great infographics, really thoughtful compare and contrast setups all the way through. And did I mention attitude? Well, we've got it again here in Curious Creatures. And I'm here to say that the star-nosed mole is a very strange, odd, and rather disgusting creature. That's probably not fair to the star-nosed moles out there, but that dollop of weird and gross is a great compelling factor to get kids into reading. Okay, last but not least for Black Rabbit, we've got some new series from Hijinks. These are books that are getting up to fun, getting up to adventure in a 24-page illustrated format, again, for about the second grade reading level. Paranormal is an evergreen topic, and we've got a lovely set dealing with everything from werewolves to Bigfoot and beyond. And then last but not least, Black Rabbit is also the home of Brown Bear Books in the US, and they do great, straight ahead, bread and butter series nonfiction on topics that we need year in and year out. This season, they've got a new installation in the Fast Track series, including titles of different situations and conditions that kids are dealing with, as well as a science starter set on energy topics. Okay. Last but not least today, we'll move to the Creative Company itself. Creative has been around, believe it or not, since 1932. This is not the biggest company out there, but it's been there a long time doing really high quality books for kids from pre-K all the way to high school. You'll see if you dig deeper into Amicus and Creative, they both have wonderful picture book lists, but today we'll focus on the series nonfiction. And if Amicus is for kids beginning to read, Black Rabbit is to help keep you reading when you're facing challenge. Creative is just the joy of reading for life, all the way from the youngest books, such as Seedlings for the first grade and kindergarten level. These are warm, welcoming books on a range of familiar topics, such as community helpers, and progressing to one of our hallmarks, which is Amazing Animals. These are single subject animal titles for the second grade level, and they're distinguished by this gorgeous images, beautiful look. The design of these books are spectacular. And as with many of the creative books, you'll find that they kind of cross curriculum. So these are science titles, but they each include an animal tale, an origin story. And that's a thread that you'll see throughout the creative list. Amazing Animals is over 76 titles. And these, as well as about 80% of what these companies do, are available in English and Spanish. And then the last two series today are The History of Hoops, which is new updated books on each of the teams in the NBA. And I'm very excited to give a little shout out ahead to this fall when we'll be doing the similar treatment for the WNBA. But this series, we've got all of the NBA titles. And as you get all the way up to the high school level, we'll round it out with our Odysseys program. Odysseys covers a ton of topics, from fine arts to social studies, history to language arts, but they also do science and current events. And this year We have recent events. So everything from COVID to the Great Recession, extreme weather, you name it. All right, all of these books that we looked at are available in library-bound hardcover, paperback, ebook, and again, a shout out to the fact that about 80% of them are in Spanish as well as English. Do check out Booklist's recent article on Spanish publishing. It is a great resource for this topic. All right, thanks so much, Julia.
Thank you, Anna, and a big thank you to all of today's wonderful panelists. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's video recording, title list, slide presentation, and a certificate of completion. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones like those you see here. Are you heading to TLA? Then stop by booth 2434 for free magazines, buttons, and to learn about our new magazine, Booklist Reader. Plus, we'll be sharing our booth with our friends at Library Reads. Swing by to learn about how you can participate in their Staff Picks program and pick up some free swag. See you there. Calling all educators, school librarians, and media specialists, especially those working with students in the K-8 sphere. We need your feedback. Please fill out our educator survey to help us gauge how we can tailor Booklist's educational products to better serve your needs as a community. Recently, ALA's Office for Intellectual Freedom reported 1,269 demands to censor library books about resources in 2022, the highest number of attempted book bans since ALA began compiling data about censorship in libraries more than 20 years ago. Join the Unite Against Book Bans campaign to help protect the freedom to read and to empower readers everywhere. Visit uniteagainstbookbans.org for more information, resources, to donate, and more. And remember that you can utilize Booklist to support your library's collection development choices with reviews backed by the ALA. We have a special webinar subscription offer, and don't forget that your subscription dollars help ALA advocate on behalf of libraries, assisting those facing an unprecedented number of book challenges. Email us at info@booklistonline.com for more information. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. One more big thanks to our panelists and to our sponsors, Scholastic, Rourke, National Geographic Kids, Holiday House, and the Creative Company. This concludes today's webinar. See you next time.